we walked into we thought there's going to be a mass exodus. They're going to say, you can't even keep your family together. Why would we want to work for you? Yeah. I mean, these are all, every step walking into the office that next morning, these are the pounding. So we went in that day and broken, crying, sobbing, and just said, this is the situation. This is where we are. We're sorry. We know this represents you. You represent us, and this might happen to you when you're out in the public. It's already happened to Drew, and it might happen to you. Yeah. And we're sorry about that. And really, we just need your prayers.
That voice you just heard is Holly Betenbough, co-founder of Betenbough Homes, a bold leader in the marketplace and one of the most sincere and spirit-led people I know. In this episode, Holly shares how vulnerability, identity, and obedience to God transformed her leadership and the lives of the people around her. Her story is powerful, redemptive, and full of wisdom. Let's dive in. Welcome back to Leading Lubbock. Today I'm getting to sit down with a really good friend of mine, recent, but I feel a very good friend.
Kindred.
And Miss Holly Betenbough. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I know there's a lot going on always, and yet to pause for moments like this really means a lot. So thank you for being here.
I love that you do this. Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely.
It's my honor to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad I could, and I'm glad you said yes. Holly, want to let everybody know a little bit about you. So you have been a part of the Betenbough companies. God has blessed you with that for many years, since its inception.
Yes.
And then also a mom. Yes. And I'd love for you to shed a little bit of light on both of those things and anything else that comes to mind.
Awesome. Yes. So my husband and I met in our teen years and dated for 6 years and got married when I was 20. So we met when I was really young. We had an opportunity through family to adopt some kids that were in our family that had been in CPS in California. And so we made the decision that would be our family, and we took precautions and had adopted these 3 kids and have learned so much through that journey. They're all grown now, and 2 of them have kids of their own, so I have 4 grandchildren that I get to love on all the time, and they are such a joy.
Are they here?
They are.
Okay.
Yes.
So you get those grandbabies, those grandkids.
I do. The girls usually spend the night every Friday night with their lolly. So
how neat. Okay.
It's precious time.
Yeah. And then tell us a little bit about Betenbough. What does that look like? Just a big 30,000 foot view.
Goodness. So Rick and I married a couple of years before Betenbough. We married in 1989 and Betenbough started in 92. And so just watching, Rick found this home before we were married, actually, that was 1,100 square feet, brick on 3 sides. And he was fascinated. It was $35,000, but you had to pay cash for it. And so he became enamored with all of that. And just how can you build a home for $35,000? How does this work? Weldon Wines is the one who built that home. And he took Rick under his wing, taught him everything he knew. And a couple of years later, Rick decided he wanted to do that. He wanted to build quality, affordable homes.
Wow.
And so we had some lean years. Before that, I was still in college. I married after my sophomore year at Tech and finished Tech. So the next 2 years, I was going to school and we were married.
You were a married woman.
Man, we were. To school. I think we made $13,000 that first year.
Wow. Yeah.
Just barely making it, but God was good. And then Rick's dad came. He had been in Lubbock for a long time and accumulated quite a wealth. And then during the 1980 savings and loan crash, he lost everything, including his wife. Rick's mom. They were married 21 years, and she left Ron during that time, left the family during that time. And so, Rick and Ron, a few years after that, joined forces to start Betenbough Homes.
That's wonderful. And what a story of restoration too, just seeing you and Rick and the loving marriage that you guys had, despite anything before that. So That's wonderful.
It was epic, an epic love story for sure.
Oh.
And Rick passed away a year and a half ago with pancreatic cancer. So we had that battle for 2 years and 2 months, which was, gosh, we saw so many miracles. The Lord was so near to us through all of that, and so redemptive. Healed relationships, forgiveness, just a lot of restoration and healing through those 2 years.
Yeah, you and I sat down not long ago and had in-depth conversation around this, and I would say my one takeaway when I walked away from that initial conversation was, in a moment that is the most trying, I'm sure, season, and yet one of the most sweet seasons is what I heard too, of connection, of hearing and responding from the Lord. And so I just thought it was a beautiful story, despite what was going on in the midst of it.
His presence was so tangible through that. Just there's times now when I long for that again. You don't want to be in the crisis to experience it, and we don't have to be, but there is a special grace that he gives you during a time like that. Carries you you through it. So
when he's the strength that you don't have. Well, thank you for sharing that. All right, well, I do want to jump into leadership.
Yes,
because I know that you've been in a role, and not even just in business, but leading kiddos, leading a family, leading other women, other men in our community. So want to dive into that as well. And I'm sure all of this is going to be intertangled. And I'm just excited to hear it all. So effective leadership, what does that look like to you? And has that changed over time? Has it been kind of set in stone? What does that look like?
Radically transformed over time. In the beginning, we felt like, first of all, the focus of our leadership was on us. And we believed all the world's lies. You can't really love the people that you work with. You have to kind of, it's not professional if you have like relationships and friendships with people that you work with. And if they see your weaknesses, they won't really respect your authority. And, you just kind of always have to have it together.
Yeah.
If you're a leader, all those lies, that's when we first started out, that was our mindset.
Yeah.
And so we kept people at arm's length. We wore a mask. Everything was always, presentable, until the Lord, of course, in his goodness, orchestrates a perfect storm for us. Our son was about to graduate from high school, and he just went off the rails. He started making very self-destructive decisions that were not private. They were public. And one of our employees went into a business establishment over his lunch break with his Betenbough Homes shirt on. And the owner said, "Oh, you work for Betenbough. Well, let me just tell you about their son." And that young man had the courage to come back to the office and sit in our office across from us and tell us what he had learned. And at that time, some of this information was new to us. And we were hearing it for the first time. And so we went home that night just completely broken by the decisions our son was making. And we knew the Lord wanted us. We had set up a jump start, which was a Bible study every morning at 8 a.m. You're welcome to come if you want to. No one's required, but an invitation. And we knew the Lord wanted us to go into that time and what we heard from him was, your people don't need to hear this on the street. They need to hear this from you. You work with them every day. So what he was really after, Reuben, was our pride.
So what you're describing is radically different than I would assume most businesses operate, which is the homework separation, right?
Yes.
So you leave home at home and leave work at work, and
exactly.
And personal life should not intertangle with the.
And you don't bring your problems in the door at work.
Right.
You leave those. Yes, exactly. All those lies of the world.
Okay.
That is, we operated under those things too until this moment.
Okay.
And so we walked into we thought there's going to be a mass exodus. They're going to say, you can't even keep your family together. Why would we want to work for you?
Yeah.
I mean, these are all,
Yeah.
every step walking into the office that next morning. These are the pounding, how that just, so.
Sometimes they're whispers and sometimes they're shouts. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
So we went in that day and broken, crying, sobbing, and just said, this is the situation. This is where we are. We're sorry. We know this represents you. You represent us, and this might happen to you when you're out in the public. It's already happened to Drew, and it might happen to you.
Yeah.
And we're sorry about that. And really, we just need your prayers. And so all of those fears, all of our greatest fears of people just not respecting our authority, not respecting our leadership, losing all trust in us and confidence in us, all those things. Actually, the exact opposite happened. And although we'd worked with all of these people for years, for the first time, we were seeing them in realness and they were seeing us in realness. And God did something so beautiful. He just knit our hearts together because we can all relate to brokenness.
Yeah.
We can all relate to hardships and struggles. And so we had a line of people afterwards waiting to talk to us. And one of the young men, who was Cal's aunt, who is the current president of Betenbough Homes, he said, that's my story. And I've come to work every day in fear that you would discover who I am. I've been in jail more times than I can count. And you wouldn't want me here anymore because I know you're Christians.
Wow. That is powerful. Wow. So the roles flipped.
Totally flipped.
You are worried about being rejected, about being the one left, abandoned,
judged, rejected. Yes.
And yet you saw those same insecurities coming up in other people around you saying, I thought the same thing. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that invisible wall that we had allowed to be built up between us and all the employees to protect us, right?
Yeah.
That's what the enemy tells you. Build that wall, protect your heart. But it really just isolates you and it keeps you from the community that you were created for.
Yeah.
So Cal, oh my goodness, we were like, wow, that is unbelievable. Well, welcome. We love you. We're so grateful you're here. And in that moment, like, Cal had so much potential and he's so much capability, and we just saw so much greatness in him. So in that moment, God restored our hope for our son. Like, his decisions are momentary and temporary. They're not permanent.
Yep.
And Cal came up next to us and he just said, I know exactly what James needs. I know what he needs. He needs you to see him the way God sees him, to never stop praying for him. And when he does come home, don't remind him of his choices. Don't hold him down to these choices that he's made. Let him, and at that time, Cal's relationship with his parents was estranged because of his choices. And what God did for him was he let him see the pain he caused his parents through his friends' eyes, who were suffering because of choices that his son was making.
Yeah.
And it changed Cal's heart towards his parents. I mean, God just accomplished all of that. Yeah. And that one simple act of obedience. I think about how different this whole journey would have been if we hadn't heard the Lord and responded, even though it was one of the hardest things we'd ever done, So
wow, that is incredible.
I just want to challenge the listeners. Is God asking you to do something really hard that might take your pride?
Yeah.
Let him have it.
Yeah.
Let him have it. Do it. Face into that. Headstrong. And watch what he does. Yeah. It will astound you.
Isn't it amazing how inhibiting fear is? And I've been hearing kind of a theme over the last week or two, which is fear or love. Like, we live out of one of those two. And just the difference of what it looks like to live out of love, to live out of boldness, instead of the fear and the walls and the crouching behind something to keep you safe, and the difference that your life is, the way that you hear, the way that you respond. So I love that. How long has Cal been there at the company?
Cal has been with us for 17 years now, and is, as I said, the president of Betenbough Homes now, and is shepherding so many leaders. And he says all the time, it's his weaknesses and his mistakes that people relate to the most, that brings the most change, you know. And it's the same with us in our lives. We learn more from those mistakes than we do those mountaintop moments.
Yeah.
You know, so
we want those mountaintop moments. Those are the ones that we all aspire for, and yet it's always, when I look back, I'm like, the biggest joys in my life came from the aftermath of the storm. You know, it is usually the moments that I remember, the moments that grew me, were the valleys, and then getting the glimpse right after you were down there. That's wonderful. There's also a story in the Bible that is very similar to this idea of running away, and the lesson that Cal is teaching you guys of, don't hold those things against him, and don't remind him of what the past was like, right? The prodigal son is all about is a celebration, right? There's no, hey, by the way, we're still going to address this thing. You know, we still got to bring that up, but it doesn't exist, right?
That's right.
The past is washed away, and welcome home.
That's it.
So, well, that's wonderful. So, Holly, what does your daily rhythms look like in terms of setting you up to be a leader, to make an influence, to be led?
Well, I love, my favorite thing is 5:00 in the morning. I'm awake and I'm sitting usually in the dark in my living room with the Lord, and it's amazing to me as I bring him all the things that are on my heart, how he can prioritize those things and help me see which things are most important. And he just gives so much insight and so much wisdom. Just moments in his presence yield an unbelievable amount of peace and perspective and direction for me. So that's my first thing that I start with. And then, gosh, Reuben, I've learned leadership for me now looks like helping every person that I come across be all God created them to be, and help them get where God has for them to be. That's become how I view leadership. It's about being fully present in moments with people, you know, not thinking about the millions of other things that are happening and the phone that's going off, and then just pushing all of that out. And it starts with quiet time in the morning with the Lord, doing that same thing, you know, and then every encounter you have with people from that point on. The Lord started showing us that the people he sent to us in the company were his, and he sent them to us for a purpose, and our job and our role as leaders is to help mine out the treasures that are in them. And even if that means ultimately they're not with us any longer, they move on to other things, you know. And there's been test after test after test of that. You can train someone for 5 years and pour all of these resources into them, and then they take all of those things that they've gained and they go take them somewhere else, you know. And so those things happen, and you have to, I can remember the first time that happened for me, and I was just so grieving over losing this. She was on our sales team, and she was amazing, and I loved her so much, and it felt like she's leaving us, you know. It was just all those things. And I sat with the Lord, and he said, Holly, is she better off because she was with you? And I said, well, yeah, I mean, when she came, she was a single mom with 2 kids, barely making it, and now she owns her own home, and she was able to buy cars for her kids, and, you know. And then he said, are you better off because she was there? And I'm like, yeah, that's why we're having this conversation, because I really don't want her to go.
She's leaving.
And the Lord said, remember, everything with me is in seasons. So just count it all good. You're both better for it. So now just count it good, bless her, and go on. And see who I welcome into your fold next to be a blessing to, you know? Like, so the focus of leadership shifted from ourselves. I think in the beginning, we don't know what we're doing, so we're so hyper-focused on our own leadership and ourselves and what we need to be doing and how we need to be doing it. And then the Lord shifts your focus onto the other people around you. And I think good leadership is giving away every responsibility you have, giving away everything you know how to do, teaching others how to do that. I think we can't fear hiring people that are smarter than us, more gifted than us, better than us. We can't fear that. If we fear that, the company will never reach its full potential. Never.
And neither will you.
And neither will we.
Yeah.
That's exactly, we'll hold it down. We'll hold it back. It's like there's a buoy that wants to just, float up out there, and we're shoving it under the water, I think we can't be afraid to do that. I think we can't be afraid that we're not going to be needed anymore. We can't be afraid to work ourselves out of a job. That's actually our goal. It's our goal as parents. It's our goal as leaders. We ultimately don't want them to need us anymore.
Yeah.
And in this recent turn of events with Rick going home to be with the Lord, if he hadn't been a level 5 leader and given everything away and raised everyone up around him, where would the company be today?
Right.
It hasn't missed a beat. It went right on. And to me, that is the greatest indicator of leadership. If you've raised people up and challenged them even before they were ready for the challenge, and you've trusted them with it, and Rick used to always say, all you can do is give people an opportunity. What they do with it is up to them. But we give opportunities here.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
We give opportunities boldly and courageously, and it means you have to watch them make mistakes.
Yeah.
So you have to give up control.
Yeah.
Because and that's hard for our kids too, right?
Right. That's what I keep hearing is this correlation between being a business leader and a parent.
And that's it.
So
In the kingdom,
hard
they're
to
the
watch
same.
them get hurt.
Oh, it's so hard. And you want to shield them from that.
Yeah.
But what did we just say earlier? We actually learn more from our mistakes.
Yeah.
And so then our job becomes, as parents and as leaders, to create a safe environment. People can make mistakes here. It's okay. We can recover from them, and we learn things, and we gain things, and we get better because of it.
Yeah.
It's okay.
What a great mindset. Yeah. So, I mean, you are talking about this culture. Right? We haven't even said the word culture. I mean, you've even just made it sound like a family. Like they're just walking into an extension of their home by being in with you guys. Like that
exactly how
you
we
communicate it well without saying it. And so practically, because the reality is there's people listening in on this who have businesses or families, or they're even an employee of a company, but we're all leading. We're leading one another in how we even go about our days. But you're talking about this mystical, like, what's going on? What are you guys doing? And what does that practically look like to care and to love for these people in the way that you're describing? Because I think it can look and sound amazing, but it's hard to really imagine if we've kind of been living in the separation of work and personal life. So,
and it is scary.
What does it look like?
I'll say it's scary because it means that you're going to be authentic and real, and people are going to see everything, and it's going to be transparent, and they're going to know everything. And I'm not, I'm just meaning about, not know everything, but do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You just live life out in the open. And I just think it's a kingdom culture is what I believe it is. And the Lord introduced it to us through all of that. When we first started as a company, we wanted to honor God. The only way we knew how to do that was to give the money we were making in the business over here to the people doing the ministry. And we operated that way for so long until the Lord tapped me on the shoulder. He said, Holly, I don't love that orphan in Africa that you've been supporting. I don't love her more than I love Becky. Sitting in the accounting cubicle. I love them the same. And you're in the house with Becky. What does she know about my love for her and my generosity in her life? Through your example.
Wow.
And I was like, Lord, it took me to my knees. It sounds so, I don't know, but we were learning all these Christian principles on Sundays and Wednesdays, and then we were coming to work on Monday. And there was all this compartmentalization of our lives. And so one by one, the Lord began to break those compartments down. And there's a scripture in Romans. I love it so much. And I'm having a hard time recalling the actual address. But it says, don't just pretend to love others. Really love them. And take delight in honoring them. And that scripture became my life verse. And that is the scripture, I feel like, that led us in a company. Don't just pretend to love people, And when all that happened with our son, oh my word, everything came out. Everybody had all of these situations. They all wanted to tell me about them. And what do we do as leaders? We feel like we have to solve all those problems, right?
Yeah.
So I picked those up and and then the Lord was like, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm the only God. You're not. All I want you to do is walk next to them. Be a splint. Like if you break your finger, a splint doesn't actually heal the wound, but it does lend its strength and support while it stays next to, and just point them to me, because I'm the one that has all their answers. You don't.
And I'll heal them from the inside out.
And I'll heal them from the inside out. And it was such freedom because, so this whole story is a series of us having one mindset, the Lord transforming the way we were thinking about it, and then us trying to do it in our own strength, and then us having to give it back to Him, and Him showing us a better way. That's what this whole journey has been on repeat.
Wow. So it started with vulnerability. You've mentioned that a couple times with your son and you guys walking in that first day, but you keep showing up that way.
Yes.
Day after day as a leader.
And you really care about people. And you realize they have these complete lives, and they come to work, you don't even know what they're carrying.
Yeah.
And how can I come alongside you in that and encourage you in that? Can I support you in any other way? How can I, I can pray with you. Maybe there's resources. We started offering counseling, the company paying for that.
Wow.
For people, marriage counseling, family intensives. We started taking our employees and all of their families on vision trips around the world so that they can get a view away from their, Moses went up to the mountain, left the camp, went up to the mountain to encounter the Lord. And so if they leave work and they can go somewhere else and see what God's doing and catch a vision for that, it changes actually how they view their work when they come back.
Yeah.
They're not just working to put bread on their own tables and support their families, but what they're doing is having an impact halfway around the world with these ministries that they're supporting through their work. Yeah. It changed everything.
Yeah.
So we were just all created for something so much bigger than ourselves. Our purpose, is He's got a purpose for us. And we're not fulfilled or satisfied unless we are operating in that. Yeah. There's something missing, and we're just longing to be fulfilled.
So you've said purpose a few times, and you're making it sound even individual. Like you have a specific purpose. I have a specific purpose. I want to come back to that, but I don't want to lose this train of thought either that we're currently on. So I wrote it down, and we're going to circle back around. But I'm curious, was there a shift in Betenbough at the time when you guys realized things have got to change? We're not leading how the Lord wants us to and is calling us to. Was there a change in the mission and the vision of the company at that time? Did you guys evolve into having a certain mission and vision statement, core values that your people are hearing? And I'd love to hear about that a little bit.
So initially our purpose statement was to best use our resources to promote the kingdom of God. Because remember, the only way we could be a part as a business and what God was doing was to give the money, our resources we were making, over there to the people in the kingdom. Okay. And so then the Lord said,
can you say that again?
Yes.
What was the mission statement?
To best use our resources to promote the kingdom of God.
Okay.
And so then the Lord said, but the people. And so then our ministry shifted to have a huge internal focus. And some of the money that we had been giving out there to the ministries, we now started using for our employees to provide counseling, to provide things they needed, and to send them on vision trips. So we still, in our hearts, that's giving and it's growing the kingdom, but we're doing it inside our walls.
Yes.
Yeah. And so now our purpose statement is to reveal God and His kingdom through our work in the marketplace.
Yeah. So it shifted. What I heard was it shifted from promoting it to revealing it, which is like, let's promote the people that are going to go out and reveal it to others.
Exactly.
Versus,
exactly.
No, we got to do the work. He's calling us to reveal it.
Exactly.
And that can still, like, you still have missionary funds, right?
Totally.
You're still giving to
still
Yeah.
supporting ministries all over the world.
globally. Yeah.
Globally, but investing in our own people
Yeah.
too. We had ministries in the beginning. I would get 50 applications a month, and I would read through those, interview those people all month long, and pick 6 of those to come and make a presentation to us. Okay. And in the Bible it says, you'll know one another by your fruit in Matthew. So I would tell them, bring stories of fruit. So they would bring these people whose thinking had been radically transformed, and therefore their lives had been radically transformed. And we'd gone to church our whole lives, but we had never seen that kind of transformation in people.
Wow.
And we were like, there's so much more to this than what we've experienced, and we want that. And so then the Lord started saying, I can do that in the walls of your business if you'll let me in. Mm-hmm. If you'll choose to see my purpose for you in your business. Like, it's the people. Mm-hmm. People are my most precious resources. So love them, know them, grow them.
And you're doing this in a way that's not just spiritually, but it seems like it's a whole body, a wholeness, encompassing everything, every part of them.
Yes.
Health,
family, marriages,
spiritual,
all of it.
I mean, they're
every aspect of their life. We feel like if we can have an impact and help and grow,
I love it, and I think everybody who knows who Betenbough is as a company knows and feels what goes on. I don't think to the extent that it actually goes on, because I keep learning more and more every time I talk to you or Kaylee or anybody inside those walls.
And listen,
Tannen,
we are so not perfect, and we have made mistakes, and there have been people who have left our company wounded. Mm-hmm. And I grieve over that. Yeah. And I'm always asking for opportunities to bring healing and reconciliation to that. It's just part of our human condition.
Right.
We want everybody to have an experience, but everybody doesn't always. It's not always everyone's experience. So I just need to say that too. I'm not here trying to,
And I hear so much humility, even in the vulnerability you're speaking in right now. Like that just... you can tell it just washes over you, and then what probably washes over everybody else, to say, I'm not perfect. Gosh. Even though it may look this way, there's so much more to it, and there's so much room for growth, and there
have been outcomes that I'm not proud of, and there have been mistakes made and people hurt, and that's, none of us ever want that. That's not what we want, but no. Despite our best efforts, sometimes that's the outcome. So
I want to shift it a little bit to you. And what is something that has something that's radically impacted your life? Maybe we've already talked about it and touched base on some of the things, but is there anything else that's kind of helped form the current version of Holly?
Goodness, there have been countless people that have poured into me over my life, starting from the time I was very, very young. I was so blessed with parents that really wanted me. They worked hard for years to have me, and they treasured me. And that foundation, adopting 3 kiddos who did not have that experience. So I want to encourage parents. You are laying a foundation for your kids that you just can't imagine when you spend time with them, when you make them a priority, when you listen to them. That's been huge for me. I'm so grateful. Both of my parents have gone on to be with the Lord now, but I'm so grateful for the way the Lord gave me them.
you say wanted, you were
Yes.
they wanted you. We don't use that word very often when it comes to us, or we use it for things. I feel like more than anything about, I want that someday, or I want to be in that position. But for us to be wanted, we all do, right? That's
all
the
need to.
desire of our hearts is to be wanted and need to be wanted. And to say that was your experience is beautiful, and what do you say to those that wasn't their story, growing up, and
great question.
because you've been there, but your kids, you still wanted them, right? You brought them in, and probably showed them the same level of love and care and want that your parents showed you. So what about those that don't have that story?
I talk to my kids all the time about this. Actually, we had their 33rd birthday celebration this week on Monday night,
okay.
and I looked at the two that are here. One son's in California, but I said I would choose you all over again, even through all that we've been through, because of what I've gained, in the journey with them. And I always told them when they were little, there's not a day that goes by that your parents don't think about you. They think about you. They just aren't well enough to make the choices. It's about brokenness. If your parents didn't treasure you, it's because they were broken.
Yeah.
They were broken. We can't give away what we don't have. And they didn't have it to give away. They did the best they could to give them everything they could. And did it fall short? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It felt like it fell short. But God wanted them, chose them, knew them before they were born, had purposes and plans for their lives before they were born, knit them together individually in their mother's womb, and has good works that he prepared for them long ago. And so, if our earthly, physical, natural experience wasn't that we are treasured, we can know that our heavenly, spiritual, supernatural experience is that we are wanted. We are wanted. We are desired. If that would be my prayer, if everyone could understand how much they're loved by the Lord, that's my one prayer for people, that they could get that, because perfect love casts out all fear. Casts it all out. And if we can live fearless, not afraid of anything, what can God accomplish through us?
Wonderful
it's limitless.
Things. Right. Yes. And again, perfect love casts out fear. Kind of the same sequence of words I've been hearing, which is we're living out of love or we're living out of fear. I'm excited to jump into this book. We're kind of like just setting the stage up for what's to come, which I love. It's very unintentional, but it's just, I think it's just that much, how much you believe in the things that you're saying. Absolutely love that. So, thank you for sharing even the ways that you've learned and grown. I think there's a level of that too, of knowing that we're wanted, acknowledging it, but then there's this piece of being reminded, because we were so forgetful. Looking at the desert, when Moses was leading his people through, of like how forgetful that they were in that season, and to us too, like I can go a week and I'm just on cloud 9, right? I just feel so loved and so fearless, and then something happens and I spiral and things get crazy, and then I have to be reminded of that. So I think that the way that you've set up your business is a place of love, but also a place to be reminded. And I love that, because I think that's needed. It's the annual trips that we're taking together. I'm sure the weekly meetings and repetition of the way that we're revealing in the kingdom to these people, here internally, externally. So And
sometimes, as a leader, you're reminding the people that you're leading, but sometimes, just like with Cal, he was our employee, this kid who was our son's age, and he's reminding us.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I think leaders, we need to, gosh, we could miss so much if we're not willing to let other people lead us sometimes too.
Yeah.
And let them remind us. We need reminding too, and that's community.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. I think that the perception is leaders have to have it all together, right? And they've got to be the ones that are setting the examples and the ones that are setting the pace. And I think the humility piece, when you can come back and say,
I needed you to say
have
that.
it all together.
Cal,
And
we needed you. You made
Yeah.
that. He changed that whole experience for us. And he came up next to us and became a son to us and went shooting with Rick on Saturdays, which is what, because our son really disappeared for 5 years, but there was Cal, and he was, I don't know, and it healed him too, because he needed a parent relationship, and it's just beautiful. And now his relationship with his parents is reconciled. Our relationship with our son is reconciled. I mean, it's just
beautiful story.
It is a beautiful story. And if we'll just let the Lord and be willing to give up our pride, and that's a hard thing for us, but it's so freeing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so freeing. I'm so thankful he did that. It was hard, and it was embarrassing and humiliating. You felt like a dog with your tail between your legs,
not knowing what's being
not,
said and how it's being,
going out in the community and just thinking people are whispering, and I remember all those feelings. But then there was a moment at church where we set up a senior table for all of our kids, and I didn't know if my son was going to show up or not. But I took all of his things, I set up his table, and I stood at his table, and he didn't show up.
Oh, wow.
And so all these people are coming. They're coming by the table. I'm like, where is he? And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know where he is right now.
You happen to know? Can you tell me?
We're just struggling, and I didn't know if he'd come or not, and I don't know, but we just need your prayers. So many parents said, I've had the hardest time with this. It like opens up a door that would have been closed. Yeah. And I had countless opportunities in that moment of me being it was so humiliating to stand there and, but God brought all of these people that and they were able to share their story with me, and we just cried together, and then they moved on. But he brought healing through that, so if we're willing to let him have his way in those moments and not worry about our pride and our image and our, stuff, then he will use it in a powerful way.
Wow.
And I made so many friends that day. I had no idea they were all carrying that stuff. Mm-hmm. They didn't know I was carrying
that. And never. It's not going to walk up to a stranger and just start talking about it.
Yeah, you feel naked.
Yeah.
It's so vulnerable.
I had this experience this week. Maybe it was the end of I don't know. The weeks are all running together, but recent sitting down with somebody I didn't know yet. And I shared a part of my story that was very vulnerable. And I shared it. He said, thank you for sharing that with me. And then it followed with, I've never shared this with anybody, but can I share this with you? And it was just like, it is freeing to be vulnerable. And I felt that across the table too when I'm talking to somebody and they go to that place and then then
they're free.
Since we're there, let me share. And thank you for opening that door. But
it's priceless.
Man, if that can just start to become part of our life and our rhythms and part of who we are, even for our kids to see a vulnerable dad, see him cry or see the pain and see the the weaknesses and the places we messed up. I want better for you.
It's so powerful for them, because then when they come across those moments in their life, they don't feel like something's wrong with them.
Right.
They're like, this is normal. I saw my dad deal with this. And this is how he dealt with it. Yeah. And I can do it too. He did it. I can do it too.
Yeah. So good. Well, Holly, what are you learning right now? What is the Lord teaching you? What are you reading about? What's going on?
Well, since Rick went home 1.5 years ago, the Lord has brought someone into my life that I've actually known my entire life. He grew up in the same town I grew up in. He is 5 years older than I am, graduated from high school with my older sister.
Oh, wow.
We went to church together here in Lubbock for 8 years. I was the children's choir director. His kids were in my choir, but yet he and I had maybe 3 conversations until after both of our spouses. His wife, he was married 39.5 years, and his wife died of a kidney disease.
Wow.
And our grief kind of brought us together in dealing with all of that. And so, at the time, you wonder if you can ever love again the way you loved, and you don't know where to put all of that. And the Lord's been showing me. I didn't have biological kids because we chose to adopt. But like when you have your first child and you think, I don't think I could ever love somebody as much as I love this child. And then you have a second child, and it's a totally different love.
It is.
And it doesn't take away from your first child, the love that you have for them. Somehow God just makes your heart bigger, and you can hold more love. And so I'm walking through that, and we are actually engaged to be married.
Congratulations. Wow.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
He has 3 children, and he has 7 grandchildren and 1 on the way.
Okay.
And so I'm learning so much about blending 2 lives together and having grace for the relationship that we both had before. And actually we were processing some of this last night together, and Richard made the most profound comment. He said, "You are my second spouse, but you're not second in my heart." And that was huge. You know, just learning all these, navigating all these emotions through this, and being happy about this relationship while still being grieved by losing. There's just so many emotions around all of it. And so.
Well, and what great lessons too for parenting, for friendships, I think we internalize comparison, right? It happens always, whether you're a 3-year-old, a 10-year-old, or in your 50s. I think we're always just comparing, like, what level is that? Are we at with whatever it was or whatever is somewhere else? And just being able to let that go. And like, no, we don't have to compare it to what. It's you're different. My second child, I don't love you secondly. Like, I love you uniquely. Yes. And there's sometimes my kids will even ask, like, well, who do you love the most? You know, and I'm like, I don't, you know, and it's so hard to describe it, you know, even in all of its nuances. It's so hard. Well,
it goes back to, I think, what you said. Are we living in love, or are we living in fear? And I think comparison so many times instantly brings fear of something.
It's birthed out of a fear of the biggest insecurities we have are going to come to fruition, right?
Exactly. And I don't think those are ever going to go away. So this has been my strategy. My strategy has been to recognize the enemy's attacks and what he's saying quicker and recover faster, because they're not going to stop coming. So if we can learn, and Living Fearless helped me learn so much about the attacks and the strategies of the enemy to cause us to live in fear, and what that costs us. What does it cost us to live in fear? And what freedom do we have if we choose to live in love?
Yes.
And it helped. That comparison helps so much. And then when you see that contrast, then as you're going through your life and you begin to feel all those attacks or those lies of the enemy trying to come, you recognize them faster, and you can shut them down and recover faster. And that's, I think, makes us effective in our walk, maybe. More effective.
So let's
do it.
Let's jump into this, because I did ask you a book recommendation, and the book that you chose is Living Fearless by Jamie Winship. I responded immediately with, wow, this book has really impacted me too, and I'm really glad that we went on a very similar journey as you navigated this book. So when did you first read it? Tell me a little bit about what you learned, what it did for you, what came out of that.
Oh my goodness! First read it when it first came out. I actually have a spiral bound copy before it was in real print, and so read that, and just paradigm shifts. So many paradigm shifts in my mind, and an awareness of fears that I had been living under. And it talks a lot about our identity in Christ, our true identity, and the Jamie also talks about in there just identifying that, asking the Lord to help us know our true identity in Him. And so, and then when you know that and you walk in that, all of a sudden the lies of the enemy that try to come at you, which are always going to be in direct opposition of the truth, you can recognize those and shut them down. So just that whole practice I've learned how to do much better. And I want to hear, I mean, would you share? Would you share?
I will share. Yes. Yeah, we briefly talked about this right before we started the podcast, and I was telling you a little bit about the story. So here I go. I said, man,
I love it.
You asked me to share this on
So
air,
good.
and man, this is an experience. So I took this book with me to New Mexico, went to the mountains up by Albuquerque, and got me a little Airbnb just by myself, me, this book, and the Bible for, I think it's 2.5, 3 days. And so it was a really neat experience, because part of this book, which you've talked about, is false identities, but also true identity, right? And what does it look like for God? And I still have the word purpose written down, like still wanting to circle back around to this and bringing it up now, because I do feel too that God gives us a unique calling, a unique purpose in our lives. And that's what makes the body of Christ so unique, is that we all have these different purposes that work so beautifully together. And so in my journey through this, one of the activities that I did was write down all the false identities, the lies, the things that I've heard my entire life, or maybe recent life, like all of it. Wrote it all down. And there was for the first, probably at least the loudest I've ever experienced it, tangible conversation with the Lord. I mean, it was so much back and forth. So I would hear, take that piece of paper, and at the time it had snowed, so there was snow packed, just ice and snow everywhere. And I went and I buried it, because that's what he had told me to do. So I buried it. And then a little bit later that afternoon, I heard, I want you to go take it. I want you to burn it now. So I, took a lighter match and went out there, and I uncovered it and started to burn it. Well, it was wet, right? Because the ice. And so only part of it burned, but some of it. And so I put it back and I covered it, but this time less deep, right? It was inches away from the surface, but still covered. And then later that day, heard the Lord, or the next morning, the Lord say, go get that paper now. All of your false identities are the lies that you believe, or Satan has convinced you are true. And I want you to take that, and I want you to put it on the stove, like skillet type. Heat it up, warm it up, let it dry, and then burn it. And I'm going to show you, like, this is going to go away. I want you to experience that these lies are not true, and I will take them away. Okay. So I'll go out to go find this piece of paper to do as I'm told. It does not exist. Not a fragment of the piece of paper. Nothing looks like it was rummaged through or anything. And I'm alone in the mountains, and I don't, it would, if an animal was trying to get a piece of paper, I don't know why they would, it would be evident. And it was just perfectly still, untouched, but the paper was gone. And in that moment, it was just like, I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to say, what are you doing, God? It was, you took that away. You just showed me I can't do things on my own. I'm not capable of making those things go away by working through it and drying it out and then burning it. And he's the one who is going to be the one to say, I will remove those from you. Let me take that burden on myself. And then now I want to speak to you tangibly, and audibly about your identity. And so, yeah, that was the journey. Yes. And
can't make this stuff up.
No, and there's more to it. I mean, this weekend was incredible. I mean, the name that I heard is vulnerable. I've not like told many people this at all. But life giver of the downtrodden, and I struggled. I wrestled with that, because
So his heart.
I'm not a life giver. I can't give life. That's his job. So how can I be called a life giver? What's downtrodden? Like, that's not a word we use, but it just came to my mind. And but what transpired the rest of that weekend was, I'm not asking you to give life. I'm asking you to breathe. I'll give the life,
Gosh.
but I just want your breath. And I went on a jog one day, and as I came back, I was breathing harder because he had, again, I say he had me going down a certain path. It was so audibly clear. And I was coming back and coming up this tall hill, and I just remember him saying, what are you doing? And like, I'm breathing hard. This is hard. And like, yeah, there's going to be times in your life where it's hard, but what you have to do in those moments is it's going to cause you to breathe harder. And all I'm asking you to do is breathe life into other people. So the harder, like the hills that you're climbing will sometimes be what other people need by the breath now that you're breathing deeper, faster, harder than you were when things are still. And it was just like, oh my goodness, So
Again,
yeah,
freedom. He offers us freedom.
Yes.
We don't have to strive in
Yeah.
it. He does it through us because he's in us.
That's right. So it was an amazing story. It's actually been, I've carried that with me of like, what does it look like for me to be a life giver, to those who are oppressed or those who just don't, maybe they're depressed. Maybe they're isolated, alone. We're all in seasons of life being downtrodden, right? And what does it look like to be a life giver in that? So that was my journey. Yeah. So
thank you.
Thanks for asking
so much
about
for
it.
sharing.
Yeah.
It's so powerful.
Absolutely. I'm glad
awesome.
that's great that you did ask, because I don't know if it's something I just volunteer regularly, though. I don't know why. It's probably a little bit of that fear that's pressing pause or turning the volume down a little bit. So it's a good reminder. And what about you? What came out of it for you? Anything that you walked away with that helped even transform a little bit about your journey, your walk?
Yeah.
Letting go of the lies.
Yeah.
Is huge.
When you know who you are, I did learn that too. I started realizing when you know who you are, most of the lies that come at you are in direct opposition. So sometimes when I hear, and if, like there's certain, I found actually this list on Pinterest. It's so good. And it's like what God's voice sounds like and what the enemy's voice sounds like. And so like when you're hearing the enemy's voice, it can make you feel ashamed. It can make you feel obsessive, worrying, all these emotions and all these feelings come out of what the lies of the enemies tell you. But God makes you feel peaceful and valuable and enlightened, and all these things. And so that's like become a filter for me. But anyway, the lies that you hear can point to clues of what your purpose is in the Lord, because you look at the opposite of that. And that's what you actually are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when you can start to really process all of it, there's just a whole level of, but it doesn't stop coming. I mean, even literally last night, that attack came. Then it's that same old lie.
Yep.
The primary lie for me from the enemy was, I'm not enough. That was the primary lie. And so it came again in my relationship with Richard.
Yeah.
I'm not enough. I'm not going to satisfy him the way his first wife did.
Sure.
Or, all those things.
Yep.
Comparison,
Yep.
fear, all those things. It attacks. It's just the attacks aren't going to stop. We know this. I mean, so we just have to learn to be effective in how we navigate them and deal with them and manage them.
And this book helped you with that.
So
correct?
Helped me.
It
It
gave
did
you a
help me with that.
framework for
Totally.
recognition of it, returning, and
when we know who we are and we stand on that,
Yeah.
we can combat the lies of the enemy. And this book helped me discover that.
That is so good. My false identity that you talk about not being enough. Mine is, which we've hit on multiple times, is not wanted, is being unwanted. And so it touched me a lot whenever you even talked about, I was wanted as a child, and in that my story, and I don't think my parents don't want me,
Sure.
but the lie to me is like, it's because I blank, I give something, or I'm performing somehow, but just my normal state, I'm unwanted. And so
And life giver to the downtrodden.
Right.
Is the
It's
opposite of
complete
that.
opposite of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
it is.
And the enemy knows these things about us. So, and it's terrifying to him. When we walk fearlessly,
Yeah.
it terrifies him. because it's a threat to him, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
of course, he knows who we are too. So he's going to come and
yeah,
attack
he
that very
knows.
thing.
He's clever, right? And smarter than we, I think, even know or can comprehend, because, the ways that things are twisted, and I can just easily go back right into that trap. And then, but it does come back to the remembering piece. Like,
and greater is he who's in us
yes,
than he who is in the world.
Yes.
We have the greater in us, and if God's for us, who can be against us? I mean, there's just all these.
Yes.
Yeah. So when we just stand firm on who we know we are, and we reject all those lies of the enemy.
Mm-hmm. Living from our purpose, living from our strength, our God-given uniqueness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So much can happen.
Thank you for sharing that.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for asking.
Yeah. So
I guess thanks for asking you, man.
I've been blessed. Well, that was awesome.
Thanks. Well, I want to keep going. I don't even know how long this is, but I feel like it could be 2 or 3 hours, and no, it'd be okay with me. But for the sake of time, I know that we need to conclude. So I like to finish with one sentence or one question for you. It's my favorite one. Mm-hmm. Although I don't know about today. Today I had a lot of favorite questions that you answered. But it is, if you could define leadership and sum it up into one simple sentence, what would that be?
I believe leadership is being fully present and aware of the people around you, and constantly asking Holy Spirit how he wants you to impact the people around you. So
it's a listening and responding. How can I? Like, what do you want me to do?
And it's a focus on the people around us, not on ourselves or our own leadership.
Yeah.
When we stop focusing on that, it's Matthew 6:33. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all other things will be added.
Yeah.
So he is responsible for the fruit. That's been another thing in this season of my life. A couple of times the enemy has tried to sow a fear that the second half of my life won't be as fruitful as the first half of my life. And when I take that back to the Lord, he says, you can't even create fruit.
Yeah.
That's my Holy Spirit. I'm the only one that can generate fruit.
Yeah.
So all you have to do is stay close to me. You stay close to me and keep doing what you've done. And that's hearing me and obeying.
Yeah.
Hearing me and following and letting me do this with you. Inviting me to do this with you, and I will be responsible for the fruit.
Yeah. There's a fruit
Freedom
tree in
again.
my backyard, and I am like, we water it, it's in a sunny spot, and this thing is not fruiting, and it's like, come on, what else do I need to do to get it to like just produce a pear? That's all I'm asking for is one, and I can't do it. I don't have it in me to make the fruit appear, and I can do my part, which I think is what you're talking about in obedience. I'm going to water it, if it needs some nutrients, I'm going to put some fertilizer down, but I can't create that fruit. And it's just like, even thinking about sowing seeds, and harvesting, and I can sow seeds. Paul talks about, he plants the seeds, and somebody else, Apollos or somebody is watering them, but God is the one he's doing the growth. So it's not because of one or the other. Yeah. It's God is the one who's bringing the life out of that seed, and we can try, we could talk to it, we could do whatever we want to try to get it to grow. But we
strive and strive
we
and
can't.
strive. Yeah.
Yeah. So
he doesn't want us striving again. He offers us freedom.
Yeah. Man. So good. So many great things. I think this was a joy. I mean, I loved every aspect of today, and getting to visit with you on this level, and so many great things. I want to go back and listen to it over and over again, just to keep taking notes, and just glad we have it documented forever, and for people all over to listen to. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you for doing this. This is you looking out for others and wanting to help them. This is you doing that. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome. And it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. I sometimes wonder, who's listening or what's going on. And it's just like, oh, but it's great. This is so life-giving, and so Thank you.
Thank you.
And I hope to have much more conversations, and
Me too.
I'm sure people will see you and hear you around. And so keep doing what you're doing and be a light in this broken world. Really, thank you for that and your obedience.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.